Okay, quick question. Have you ever tried saying something with da at the end of a sentence and then felt like, wait, do Japanese people actually talk like this? Don't worry, you're not alone. Da is super basic grammar, but it's also super misunderstood. So in this episode, I'm going to show you how it really works. 皆さん、こんにちは。はじめましてか、お久しぶりです。今日は英語のポッドキャストです。It's been a while since I uploaded my last video. I'll talk more about what I've been up to in another Japanese video, but not today. For now, let me introduce myself a little bit. My name is Meika, and I was born and raised in the countryside of Nagasaki, Japan. I've been teaching Japanese at my own online school for about 4 or 5 years, and I've also been teaching at a university for the past year. On top of that, I'm studying online for a master's degree at a Scottish university right now. Actually, if you're interested in taking personalized lessons, I'm currently accepting new students at my school, and you can find a link in the description. But enough about me, let's get into today's topic. Today's episode is about da, which is considered as a casual form of des. It's such a basic piece of grammar that you probably learned early on in your Japanese studies. But surprisingly, many learners don't use da correctly. And honestly, I don't even think it's their fault, because many textbooks and even some teachers don't really explain it. So if you want to finally understand when and how to use da properly, keep watching. Before diving in, I just want to explain why I'm doing this in English instead of Japanese. The main reason is that I want these episodes to be accessible even to people who are just starting out with Japanese. Also, I often refer to reliable sources written in Japanese and then explain them in English. So even learners who don't have access to Japanese sources can still learn about current theories and discussions in Japanese linguistics. Of course, I'll still use Japanese for example sentences and stuff, since this series is all about Japanese. To prepare for this video, I checked some textbooks. For example, in Genki 1, when they introduced des in Unit 1, there is no explanation about da at all. It doesn't mean Genki is bad though. It's actually the textbook that I use at university. Please let me know what your textbook says, because I'm really curious. But the point is, I think even there is some explanation, it's often just something like da is informal speech. But what does informal mean? When I asked ChatGPT, yes, I did. The answer was that informal speech means language used in casual, everyday situations, like with friends, family, or people of the same age or status. So I thought about it. But here's the thing. Japanese people don't really use da in everyday conversations the way we use desu in polite ones. I'll give you some examples. For example, I would naturally say to my friend, あ、私の好きな果物？好きな果物はバナナだ。Meaning, oh, my favorite fruits? My favorite fruit is bananas. Or, 私今日本に留学してるよ。今大学2年生だ。Meaning, I'm studying abroad in Japan. I'm a second year student. Yes, they're grammatically correct. There's no problem. So grammatically, that can replace this. But in real life conversation, it often sounds strange. Japanese learners make these mistakes because they assume that equal casual des. But no, that's not really how it works. Then how should we use that? Here is one definition that I found. Japanese people use da when expressing personal thoughts or feelings in which they don't care about social status or any of the listener around them. This definition makes sense to me only because I know specific time to use them. But I think this still might cause some misunderstandings. So let me break it into two clear cases. According to the Nihongo Bunpo Handbook, which can be translated as Japanese Grammar Handbook. It's written in Japanese, but very much like a Bible for Japanese teachers. This book is written by 4 famous professors in Japanese linguistics. So let me refer to this book. Da is mainly used in writing, such as diaries, novels, and academic papers. The contrast is des is used when writing to someone with respect, and da is used when you don't need to show your respect to anyone. This actually reminded me of elementary school. Elementary school in Japan is for 5 to 12 years old kids. When we first learned how to write, we were told to use desu masu form, or maybe we weren't told, we just did, because that was the form that we knew how to write. But when I was around 10 years old, some classmates started using da in essays, and it actually sounded more sophisticated. I remember one classmate even won a prize for writing like that. If I remember correctly, the teachers didn't really say that's the way to write it, but the textbooks started using da, and that kind of became a natural way of writing stuff for us eventually. So even for native speakers, this shift isn't always obvious. That's my point. In writing, that is standard in certain contexts. So if you write something in your diary, you could say something like, 私のお父さんは犬が嫌いだ。だから私は犬が欲しいけど飼えない。Meaning, my father hates dogs. So even though I want a dog, we can't have one. It doesn't have to be in your diaries, right? Like, this sentence could be in your writing homework or something. But the point is, this is something written. Okay, another case is when you're technically speaking aloud, but really addressing yourself, not the listeners. This might sound a little bit odd, so I will give you some context and examples. So, the context is, you're chatting with your friends, and you check the time, and it's already past the time you're supposed to leave. Then, you could say things like, もう5時だ。帰らなきゃ. Meaning, oh, it's already 5. I should go home. Another example could be when your friend is saying something unbelievable, like your favorite idol is actually married or something. So you Googled it and found the reliable resource. Then you might say stuff like, 本当だ。ニノが結婚してる. Meaning, wow, that's true. Nino is actually married. By the way, Nino is an actual Japanese idol that I used to be obsessed with as a kid. He's one of the members of an idol group called Arashi, if you know. Anyway, in this context, you're technically talking to yourself. Soften your message so it's not directly addressed to others, so it counts as indirect speech. In social linguistics, this is considered as one of the politeness strategies, a way to avoid conflict and soften the expressions of obligation. So they might look like sentences that they say to the listeners, but actually they're just addressing themselves. That is why these actually can be used in a formal setting if the listener is not in an extremely high position. For example, if you're talking to your senpai, senpai is a Japanese word for seniors or upperclassmen. You might say, もう5時だ。そろそろ帰ります。Meaning, oh, it's already 5. I will head home soon. Even though this context is in a polite setting, you can still use that, which the explanation saying that is a casual form of this doesn't really explain. I said earlier that this can be used if you're not talking to someone in extremely high position, because you don't even say stuff like, oh, it's 5 p.m. to a CEO of your company, right? Anyway, my point is that is used when you address yourself, but not directly to the listener. But in my opinion, this one is quite tricky to actually use even if you understand the logic behind it. That's why in actual conversations, I usually recommend learners to just drop that entirely. For example, もう5時、帰らなきゃ sounds perfectly natural. it actually sounds perfect without that. Here's a quick note. Don't get confused when you see da in the middle of a sentence. That's completely different. For example, 彼の好きなお酒は日本酒だと思う. Meaning, I think his favorite alcoholic drink is sake. Here, da is just the dictionary form before と思う, so that's completely fine. Japanese learners are used to seeing da because there are so many grammars that we actually use da. But what I talked about today was how da works at the end of the sentence, not when it's in the middle. There are more sentence final particles that you can add instead of da, but that's a whole different story that I can cover in another video, so I'm not going to talk about it today. So let me wrap up. First, da is not the casual version of this that you can swap in and out whenever you want to. Second, use da mainly in writing, like diary or academic papers, or when you're making those indirect, self-directed comments like, あ、もう5時だ. But honestly, when in doubt, just drop the da entirely in casual conversation. You will sound a lot more natural. I hope this clears up some confusion about that. And again, if you like personalized Japanese lessons where we can dig into grammar nuances like this together, I'm accepting new students at my online school. You can find the link to my website in the description below, and I will see you in a free information session. If you want to explore more tricky grammar points that textbooks often oversimplify, don't forget to subscribe. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, ganbatte!